11:34 in the morning on this Monday in Israel. It is a historic day, and you are watching history unfold. This is the Knesset in Jerusalem, the Israeli parliament building. President Trump has been invited to speak to the Knesset. He has been obviously very involved in the peace negotiations that have resulted in what you see on the banner at the bottom of your screen there. All 20 living hostages now confirmed to have been released by Hamas. Israel is releasing nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners in return, and there are the bodies of 28 hostages who died while in horrific conditions in Hamas captivity. Those bodies are going to be returned in the coming days, perhaps weeks, because it is not known where all of them are. If you're just joining us, you're looking at the Knesset. President Trump will be the fourth U.S. president to address the Knesset. He's also being given the Medal of Honor, the highest Israeli medal that can be given. That will be bestowed on him today for his role in making this deal happen. Our chief national security correspondent.
Hey, welcome into Courageous Media. Really appreciate you rolling up on quite the Monday. We have been talking about this for the last 3 days. I think people have been sitting on the edge of their seat wondering, will it get there? Will it take place? Will it actually hold? We learned last week that Trump had finalized a peace deal, that all sides had agreed. Israel, Hamas, all of the surrounding Arab Muslim nations, everybody was in. And Monday was the day. All of the hostages were to be released on Monday. And here we are. And we have exactly that. The breaking news this Monday morning is that all living hostages have been released and are back in Israeli custody. They are back. Some of them are already with loved ones. The last 13 by this point are probably out of the hospital that they were helicoptered to in Tel Aviv. So all 20 living hostages have been repatriated to Israel. This is an amazing day. It's an amazing day for Trump. It's an amazing day for the Middle East. It's an amazing day for the world. And I really appreciate all of you rolling up and joining me this morning as we celebrate something that is worth celebrating. The end, the potential long-term end of this conflict. But right now, there is no shooting. Right now, there is no war between Israel and Hamas. There might be some death in Gaza, but right now it looks like that is being perpetrated by elements of Hamas on its own Palestinian people, which is very sad. But in terms of the war between Israel and Hamas and the destruction of Gaza, that right now has come to an end. The hostages have been released. Israel has released 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. They have withdrawn to the preordained lines that they were set to, and everything is going according to Trump's peace plan. This is absolutely amazing. We're going to dive back into this Fox News coverage. We've got clips of Trump addressing the Knesset, only the fourth president to do so ever. This is amazing stuff, and I really appreciate everybody rolling up. You guys are awesome. So let's dive back in this report from Fox.
Jennifer Griffin is in Tel Aviv. She joins us now live. Jennifer.
John, it is an extraordinary moment here in Israel. We've just confirmed with the IDF that all 20 Israeli hostages, all 20 living hostages have been released by Hamas. The last 13 are in the hands of the Red Cross. They are making their way to the IDF checkpoint right now. The IDF is still in 53% of the Gaza Strip. They had pulled back to that line, that ceasefire line, as part of the agreement. These last 13 hostages, some of whom had already been making phone calls and video phone calls with their parents and their spouses and their loved ones at the base in Re'im from their Hamas captors' phones while they were waiting for the Red Cross. The Red Cross then went through medical checks. They identified all 13 of the Israeli hostages, and now we can report that that convoy is on its way to meet the IDF as we speak. All 20 will return to Israel shortly. We have seen preparations at the Re'im base outside the military helicopters, which will bring the hostages to the three hospitals here in Tel Aviv that have been making preparations for the hostages, medical doctors, psychologists, care packages for the hostages who've been kept in unbelievable conditions for the last 2 years. Remarkably, we've seen photos of at least six photos of the 7 hostages who've been released.
The hostages have been released. At this point in time, this report was about 3-4 hours ago. So they are either at the Tel Aviv hospitals or have already been released from the Tel Aviv hospitals. We do have some images, which is absolutely amazing to see, of reunions already happening in Israel. This is phenomenal stuff. Here we go.
אתה חייב לשתות קצת, נשמה, טיפה. הוא ביקש לשלוח את זה לחדשות, לשלוח את זה? למי לשלוח?
This is amazing. It's amazing to see. I wasn't sure Trump was actually going to be able to pull this off. He is a tremendous force of will, but there are some competing factions that are hell-bent on destroying each other. And combined effects, I do not disagree with you. I'm not sure that the Islamic hate will not go away. However, right now it is being tempered by more moderate forces coming out of the Gulf nations, which see this as a path to commerce and to more wealth. Now, there is an agenda underlying all of this in the Islamic world that we need to be very careful of. That is why the United States and Europe in general need to really try to get rid of a lot of the quote unquote refugees that have taken residence and are wreaking havoc in certain places. But I don't disagree with you. But I think for at least this moment, we can celebrate that there is peace in Gaza. The killing there has stopped. And let's see if we can get to a more lasting arrangement where Gaza actually gets rebuilt with Gulf money. And the Palestinians actually have a place that can transition from the provisional international governing board to more of a Palestinian state. I don't think you'll ever see the hardcore Palestinian supporters or the pro-Hamas people from the river to the sea people ever give up that mantra, because at their core, that group of extremists, they want Israel gone. They don't want Israel to have a country. They want Israel to cease to exist. You're never going to get rid of that level of hate. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this is an amazing day. Now I've got a couple clips because Trump did address the Knesset, and it was phenomenal. His whole speech was phenomenal. I just have a couple clips that I think were really amazing. They show Trump in his element. This is great stuff. So here we dive to Trump. One of 2 clips, Trump addressing the Knesset. Here we go.
Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, esteemed members of the Knesset and cherished citizens of Israel, we gather on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope, of renewed faith, and above all, a day to give our deepest thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity.
Well, so I love some of the things that Trump said there. I love the way he addressed the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Don't forget the fact that that same God came in the form of Jesus Christ in order to redeem all of this stuff. Will Israel eventually live in peace for all eternity? Yes, but I think there's going to be some hard times ahead. So now I have one more clip from Trump addressing the Knesset. Again, I thought his speech was excellent, and it's not a hard speech to make at this point in time, given the events of today. And so here's the second clip, which I think is absolutely great.
This is not only the end of a war. This is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East. I want to express my gratitude to a man of exceptional courage and patriotism whose partnership did so much.
So I thought it interesting that he says this is the dawn of the age of a new Middle East. And I believe he could be right. If they can get Hamas to take that final step, and if they can govern Gaza with an international board and actually rebuild it with Gulf money and you could make it look like Tel Aviv South. You could make it look like Dubai. All that beachfront property could be amazing. So I think this has a real chance of working. And then you gradually hand that over to a Palestinian authority to some level of free elections or something, maybe governed, maybe backstopped by by an Arab, maybe oversight board or something. You could potentially make this eventually become a Palestinian state where you get to a quote unquote two-state solution. And then you've essentially eliminated 80% of the resistance to Israel. You'll still have the 20% core, from the river to the sea people. You're never going to get rid of them. They have to come to their own spiritual awakening, or they have to be eliminated, from public discourse. So, they need to be shamed, run out of town on a rail, so shamed to the point that they stop talking that nonsense. But in the meantime, you could actually remake the Middle East. Now, after Trump's Knesset speech, he departed for Egypt, where he is basically on the way to meet with all of the other leaders to finalize the last elements of this peace deal. Check this out.
Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth is with him as well. And of course, Ivanka Trump, his daughter, and Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. So I might have missed a couple, but those are the big ones, if you will. And we are watching the president head towards.
As we watch all of this, especially here, this picture of Bibi Netanyahu, he's obviously there. He could be flying with President Trump over to Egypt to participate in the talks. He has decided not to, despite the offer and invitation from President Trump. It seems to me to be very interesting that the two parties really at the heart of these peace talks will not be party to the actual Egyptian peace talks, and that specifically would be Israel and Hamas. While we don't trust Hamas, and while Hamas is considered a terror group, they are, let's just be honest, critical to maintaining the peace. Neither party will be part of these peace talks. However, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO, they will be there, which I find very interesting that PLO will be there and party to the talks, but not the two critical parties that are really at the center of these peace talks. David, am I off base here? I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
No, you're not off base, but it makes sense why Netanyahu wouldn't go. First of all, a couple reasons. One, he doesn't want necessarily the PR of him around all of the Arab leaders right now. He thinks it's too soon. But beyond that, let President Trump do the, quote, dirty work. In other words, this is about Arab buy-in. It always has been. And President Trump is in his elements there. I think Bibi being over there would be a...
He's absolutely right. I think Bibi Netanyahu, in a moment of clarity and actual sanity, has said, no, I'm not going to go to these level of peace talks. And there's two reasons for that. One, I think he's absolutely right. He doesn't want, proximity to the Arab leaders. He doesn't want, at this point in time, it's a little too fragile. He is not liked by anybody in the game over there. Trump is. And Trump is essentially put Israel in a box. When Bibi Netanyahu tried to bomb the Hamas leaders in Qatar, that's when Trump turned around and put the hammer down on Israel and said, "You will essentially, listening to all the back channels and the people, on the inside." That's when Trump basically said, "Hey, you will agree to this peace plan. This peace plan is mine, and this is what we're going to do. And if I get the Arab buy-in, you will agree to it, and I don't care what you think." And he essentially put Netanyahu in a box. And so Netanyahu doesn't need to be at these peace talks because he's right. This is all about U.S. Arab relations, and it's all about Arab buy-in to the plan. It's all about the Arab buy-in, literally, monetarily, to rebuild Gaza. It's all about the Arab buy-in to provide security forces. It's all about the relationship of Trump with the surrounding Arab nations to form the international governing board led by Trump that will oversee Gaza in the short term. So he's going actually with Hegseth, with Marco Rubio, to meet with all of the Arab leaders: Turkey, Egypt, Jordan. The Gulf states will be there. So this will be an amazing set of talks that are happening in Egypt to essentially get to the next stage of the deal. Now, the fact that Hamas is not there, is somewhat interesting. Now, I think they seem to have delegated to the PLO. And part of the reason is, Hamas, I think some of their leaders are hiding out. They don't want to get, arrested, killed, you name it. I think they have some of those fears. But this is very interesting because right now, with Trump essentially putting his foot on Netanyahu and the Israeli government, the only people that can really derail this, that would have any vested interest in derailing it, is Hamas itself. So we will see how this plays out in Egypt over the next 24 to 48 hours and how it plays out with Hamas. So really appreciate everybody rolling up so far. Thanks so much for being here with Courageous Media on the Chris Highland Show. Please smash that like button for me. It really helps us out in the YouTube algorithm if you hit that thumbs up. If you subscribe, if you haven't already, to the channel. And if you have subscribed, please check your notifications. Make sure they're on. YouTube loves to turn them off so that you know when we drop new content. But really appreciate everybody being here.